Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel. The Fat Lad Neil Pickup with you here. And I'm on the road again. We are travelling down to see my good mate Eddie the Beast Hall. He lives in Staffordshire, Stoke-on-Trent to be more precise. And that's a goddamn shame. And why? Because as the sun beats down and I'm under a motorway bridge here, the traffic is absolutely vile. I've been driving for about an hour and a half now. It should only take me about an hour and a half, hour and 3/4 to get to Ed's. And so much of this journey has been spent in traffic. And it's a weird day. It's raining but sunny. So keep your eyes out for the rainbows, depending on what you can see on the camera. Apologise early for the seasickness effect. But this arm that you can attach in the car to allow you to film while you're driving. Got a bit of a wobble on. Definitely lacking a bit of stiffness. There's no doubt about that. But never mind. We're not going to let it deter us, guys. We're going to talk arm wrestling. We're going to talk today about East versus West 15. One of the headline matches there. The most talked about match. For the right reasons, for the wrong reasons, you tell me. But that's right, you guessed it. It is between OLEG Petrenko, the Ukrainian phenom, who was trained, stabled by the late great Andrei Pushka, the Ukraine pain train. And he will face an old adversary of Andrei's. No limits. Devon Larratt. The soldier boy Superman from the frozen north will face the baby train. But this ain't no choo-choo. This guy is serious. And to make matters a little bit more difficult for Dev, he's had a huge weight loss to endure here. So he's dropping down to 105 kilograms. That's actually lighter than I am. I'm right now weighing around 110 kilos. So Dev's going 5 kilos less than me, which is hard to believe. Obviously, he doesn't have the old sad titties, which is a good thing for him. But for a man who's 6'5", I'm like 6'1". For a man who's 6'5", and already not carrying any fat really. If you looked at Devon any time in his career, this is not a guy who's fat. The guy's walking around with six-pack abs, you know. He is going to be extremely, what's the right word, depleted, I would imagine, for this match. And that is one of the areas of intrigue here, one of the areas of interest for me. On any measure, at any time, if you'd asked me who would win a match between Devon Larratt and OLEG Petrenko, and make no mistake about it, OLEG Petrenko, throughout his career, which we'll talk about in a moment, has been extraordinarily powerful when at his best. Super strong. But at any time, if you're talking about a peak in shape Devon Larratt versus a peak best conditioned OLEG Petrenko, for me there's only ever been one winner, and it's Devon. Why? Size. If you ask my missus, size does matter. Now, Devon Larratt is just a bigger guy. Bigger frame, bigger structure, longer levers. These are things for an arm wrestler who's very technically complete that can make a big difference in an arm wrestling match. If the guy knows how to utilize that size, that structure, it can create a variety of issues for your opponent. You can neutralize a lot of the weaponry, a lot of the offensive weaponry that Petrenko has. Oleg is a guy that is all about power, much like his mentor, Andrei Pushka. This is a guy that's not necessarily the most finessed arm wrestler in the world, but is unbelievably powerful. The other point that I'm going to make here is, don't for 1 minute feel that Oleg Petrenko is a thuggish arm wrestler, that he's not an arm wrestler with style, that he's not an arm wrestler with table smarts, with intelligence. He certainly is. In fact, I'm going to say very few of the guys at this level have got to that level without having a very well-rounded set of capabilities. And by that I mean technical capabilities and also understanding of the sport. You have to be able to address a lot of different things to ascend to this level of arm wrestling. But what I would say is, because of the style of Devon Larratt, because of the size difference of these two athletes, the technical range, the technical capabilities, the technical opportunity for Oleg Petrenko in this match are reduced. They're fewer. They're restricted. For Devon Larratt, he does nevertheless have to be a little aware of a couple of areas of risk. Despite Oleg Petrenko having a shorter lever, smaller hand, much smaller hand, if he can get the strap, he can find the strap, which I'm sure he can, Oleg Petrenko remains extremely dangerous. If he has enough side pressure to put Devon on, and let's talk about that in a moment, but I say to put Devon onto the B side. That is, if Devon Larratt does not willingly move to the B side and employ that open top roll style that he's known for. If he doesn't look to utilise that pronator and to sit back and allow Oleg Petrenko to initiate, which is a very likely option for Devon. Interestingly, would that be in strap or out of strap? If Devon had the opportunity to do that without the strap initially, it may be a very, very strong game plan for him. Personally, I would like to see, because I do have a favourite in this match, obviously I'm friends with Devon, I would like to see Devon win. Nothing personal again, before anybody says in the comments. I've met Oleg Petrenko many, many times. Genuinely great dude, massively talented. I've underestimated him in the past on a couple of occasions. When he arm wrestled against Kudagali, I actually had him as a slight underdog, and my God, was I wrong there. He looked exceptional over in Dubai. It was incredible. And he won that match at a canter. But I'd like to see Devon go back to the old No Limits. And by old, I'm talking 2008, 2010, that kind of environment where he was able to arm wrestle from the A side and be much more attacking. Utilise that structure as a weapon for offensive style of arm wrestling, attacking arm wrestling. We haven't seen that from Devon for many, many years. I've spoke to Dev privately about that many times, and I do believe that it's an area of his game that he overlooks. And just because he's built up such an incredible defensive technique and style, I don't believe that he should neglect or overlook the validity of what he can do if he chooses to attack, if he chooses to be more upright, more vertical, and take a little bit more of a left side outlook on the pad and try and close down the space, particularly in this match, because what that would do is it would put a great deal of pressure on Oleg Petrenko to be much quicker, to be much looser in style, and probably create a situation where he needs to rush his attack. Whenever you rush your attack from a loaded position, there are holes there that creates problems for you. And when you're arm wrestling a lad like Devon Larratt, who's so long, who's got such good structural integrity, some of which has been built up through years of abuse and damage. There's a lot of knots and gnarls in Devon's game, that you can create problems for yourself if you attack too quick, if you attack hastily. You've got to be very, very sure of your angle. Because if you're not sure of that angle, someone like Devon will grab hold of it and will create big problems for you. Petrenko has to get A side, he has to get there quick, and he has to make it stick and make it count. He cannot allow loose movement to enter this match. If loose movement comes into this match, Devon will piece him apart over time. Petrenko needs to be on the A side, he needs to box Devon in as much as he can, and he needs to be physically stronger than Devon here. I'm concerned about the weight loss. I hope that it hasn't become a theme, and I hope that it isn't as big a factor as social media suggests it might be. Everybody gets attached to this a great deal, and whether it's the time that Devon has taken to lose the weight, how hard he's had to press to lose the weight, we don't know. We're not Devon. We will never know. We're not Devon. All the people who comment on that will never know. They're not Devon. When we'll find out is on Saturday night. Because if the strength gap is close, then I believe that will be largely to do with the weight loss. Because if you look at these two guys when they're at their peak, the strength gap would not be so close. We've heard various people within the sport comment on just how strong Oleg Petrenko really is. And you know, if you listen to the comments of David Dadikian, he spoke very highly of the top end strength that he felt from Petrenko. If you listen to Kirugali Ongobayev after he faced Petrenko, Marcio Barbosa after he faced Petrenko, they spoke of the top end power that the young Ukrainian had. There is enough weight of opinion to suggest that Oleg Petrenko is the real deal when it comes to top end strength, and I for one believe he is. I think the nuance of this match and the way in which Devon should address it is to make that not an issue, and I think that is best done from centre to A side, Devon's A side. Probably less of an interesting match if that happens. We've seen in the past that Oleg Petrenko doesn't do as well on the B side. He's quite rigid in style. He doesn't flow. And the B side puts him in a position that he doesn't train and doesn't feel as comfortable. I think if Devon can get him into a B side, particularly with his wrist sacrificed, then it's going to be a very, very difficult day for Oleg. Devon has a track record of putting himself into the line of fire at some stage in the arm wrestling match, even if he can dominate, even if he gets what he wants early in this match. I feel like Dev's got that little devil on his shoulder that's going to be saying, yeah, let him in a little, let him go a little. There lies danger. We saw it with Gennady Quikvinya in the match with Devon, which I still maintain that if Devon had wanted to finish that match and wanted to ice it, he could very well have done that, but he's there to entertain the crowds and he does that very well. Right after that match with Gennady, Devon came to Arm Wars Dark Card. We spoke extensively about that there, and Devon was very open about the manner in which he addressed that match, and I'm sure he learned a great deal from it. And I feel like some of that learning, if he's got the top end strength to do it, and he isn't as depleted as well, I hope he isn't depleted, but if he isn't as depleted as some people would suggest, then Dev should try to get a grip on this match early and don't allow Oleg into his running. I think from there's more than a physical impact. I think it becomes a mental issue as well for Petrenko. Devon is a horrible man to arm wrestle if you're losing the match. yeah, he can put you in a really difficult spot, and he does do with a lot of opponents. That'll be interesting also, because I know that Devon has massive respect, and he really likes Oleg Petrenko. If you meet Oleg Petrenko, if anybody watching the show right now, or who's going to be at the event maybe, just have a word with Petrenko. Oleg Petrenko is a wonderful, wonderful bloke. Really nice guy, extremely humble, extremely well-trained, extremely diligent young man, who's massively powerful. This is an interesting match. For me, I don't like to see Devon move the weight categories as much as some people probably do. The reason for that is because Devon is my friend, and I do think there is a degree of detriment for any man with that kind of frame at the age that Devon is at. And Devon, if you see this, take that as it's meant, mate. It's not a slight. Bloody hell, I'm older. What it is just genuine opinion. I think that sometimes increasing your weight a great deal, decreasing your weight a great deal, whilst it's great for the fans of the sport of arm wrestling, may not be as good for your health. My primary concern in this situation, as Devon is my friend, is that he stays in the best of health for him and his family going forward. I already feel like Dev's given a great deal to the sport of arm wrestling, and in some respects I like to see him compete where he is healthiest, where he's optimum, and that's really where my feelings are on that. When my fan head goes on, yeah, of course you want to see Devon in matches, of course you want to see him in hard matches, of course he wants the legacy, he wants that, I want it this way, I want it this way. I get it. We've all been there. We've all been the guy that wants to extend, or I say we've all been there. Most of us who've competed at the highest level in this thing know exactly what's going through the mind of an arm wrestler when they seek out that next challenge. It's exciting. It's something to focus on. I hope Devon is successful in securing victory here, in enhancing his legacy yet further. I think this is an interesting matchup, potentially for wrong reasons in some respects, but nevertheless it is a very impressive matchup. Whoever wins it, well, I'm not going to say that actually. Let's just say this: if Devon wins it, I hope that he doesn't necessarily focus his sights on this weight class. I hope that he goes to his optimum weight class, which I believe is probably nearer 115 than it is 105. And sort of stay there. Let the mountain come to Mohammed. Let Mohammed come to the mountain. You tell me in the comments what you believe is the best way to do it. But for me, I think Devon's a draw at any weight class. He's an exciting match at any weight class. And if he's at 115 and potentially competing above that as well, I think there's plenty of matches there for him to focus on. Guys, I'm going to call it there because Eddie Hall is calling me. For those of you who are new to the channel, please like, share, subscribe, and leave me your comments. Hit that subscribe button, guys, and I'll speak to you soon. Biggity bong, mother fluffers.